Hello everyone, my name is Notepad Anon and I write games for fun. So what are we working on today? Well, today we're going to be working on a game called Sublesse Mortus, if I can actually pronounce this correctly. But what is this game in particular? What is this? This is a game jam game. I spoke on it a little bit last stream, which was the 28th. The last big stream. That should be actually be going up on YouTube here relatively soon. I just need to do all that. I'll probably do that after stream, though. So, what is this game? Well, this game is for two jams in particular, for two game jams, the C&D jam, as well as the Apocalypse jam for tabletop games. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be fun. This is going to be cool. Let's do something interesting. The game is partially inspired, I'd say a 50-50 by Project Zomboid and CDDA. Which is funny because Project Zomboid is inspired by CDDA as well, so 75% CDDA. But this game is about zombies and is about dying to zombies, and it is also about probably making the most autistic health system physically possible. Why? Why am I deciding to do this particular thing? Because I can, and I want to see if I can do it. But yeah, this is the game. We decided somewhat on making it just a D100 system because that give us a lot of little numbers to play around with, and little numbers is what we need to work with in something of this scale. How the system is relatively simple. It's just a lot of, how do I want to word this? The back end is where things get a little bit complicated. Not necessarily what it's built on very simple things, but it just gets a little bit more complicated the more it builds up. So that's pretty much it. How much of it do I plan on actually getting done today? Not much, but I just want to get something written down more than anything. So it's also very late for me. I meant to stream earlier, but I just didn't get around to it. So just me and my hot cocoa right now, as I die a little on the inside. Well, let's get down to it. So, our main thing we got to worry about is this is the only D100 system I actually have, which is PIGS, Pilot Intelligence Guided Systems, which those videos went up relatively soon. They went, I think, like last week. So, let's see. This is what I'm going to be using, but I'm going to be using a modified version of it. So, let's see. And literally all this means is survive the dead. That is all it means. So we want to do playing. So playing the game. Super Idol. Sublesse Mortus. Played with percentile. Is played with percentile die. Is played with percentile die. Is that how I want to word this? Actually, no. It's played with three. Actually, played with one to I want to say 1 to 3 players, a game master, and a full set of dice. If I can use my F key, a full set of dice, as well as the inevitable feeling of loss. Super idle. Let's see. Because I could decide just to rewrite this entire section, but remember, kids, if you have something written already, use it again. Just keep using it. Just endlessly use it. Secret to huge success. Roll together with 10 on this final amount. For example, rolling a 4 and 3 makes 43. However, if a character and survivor rolls a 0 on both die, they roll 100. Standard checks involve the survivors. Survivors rolling 1d100 under their attribute to succeed, in addition to rolling another d10 to succeed. Let's see. Standard checks will involve. Opposed checks will have two or more actors. Two or more characters. No, we want characters because we have to factor in non-survivors. Opposed checks will have two or more characters roll to determine the lowest value still under their attribute. Let's see. Actually, opposed checks will have two or more characters roll to determine their lowest roll to find. Opposed checks will have two or more characters roll to. How do I want to word this? Pretty much, it's the idea that, let's say I have a skill of 60, you have a skill of 40. The idea of I roll a 54, I've succeeded. However, if you roll a 52, technically you succeed. You beat me. You rolled a lower value, but it's still over your skill, so you still fail. By virtue of like you didn't succeed because your character can't do that. So actually, opposed checks will have two or more characters roll to. We'll have a character roll off with the lowest value. With the lowest value succeeding as long as it is under the character's attribute as well. There we go. Luckily, we only really have to worry about survivors for attributes. Zombies are going to have their own thing. I'm going to use a little bit of. I have an idea when it comes down to it's commonly referred to as programming when it comes to enemy design, and by programming, what that is you set up something initially. You have like this odd AI already in place that it's the enemy will attack the closest target for 2 damage. You don't have to do anything about it. The enemy is just going to attack the closest target for 2 damage within range 4, or move as close to an enemy as possible. That's pretty much it. Most enemies are going to be using that because I need them to, because they are zombies. And luckily, zombies are stupid. And we're subscribing to a fairly basic standard array of zombies. So, let's see. Critical scored. Oh, let's see. So we just wanted to do that. Critical scored when the survivor rolls dubs on their dice, rolling the same number twice among any other dice rolled. 44, 66, 77, etc. And we don't really need to. We're not having the wild die in this version, so we're not have to worry about hypercriticals. Criticals are not always good. They have critical failure, but if they have success, they have critical success. Why? Because I think criticals are fun, and this may not be like the most accurate thing in the world. However, I want the idea being like you have about 10%, you have I think it's 9% chance. Yeah, you have a 9% chance to roll something interesting on a result, allowing you to overperform, allowing you to do something impressive, allowing you to very much feel that sense of, random chances, fate is swinging in your favor. Because even in real life, sometimes we do something and it just goes well. Or it goes poorly. And that's just random happenstance. There's nothing you can do to control it. And that's fine. So, we don't really need to worry about momentum and stalling, because that's because you don't have the wild die. Actually, so what we can do, can have, we'll call it, it would be momentum and stalling, hesitation, momentum and hesitation. A certain situation, we'll have the survivor. We'll have the survivor attain Take momentum or hesitate. Hesitate. Or hesitate. When they have momentum, the survivor... When they have momentum, the survivor, when rolling a check, when rolling a check, may re-roll. May re-roll either of their die. So pretty much, if you rolled let's say you have 46, let's say you have 46 in an attribute, you roll and you got a 47. However, you have the attribute, or you have momentum, you have momentum, you can say, oh, well, I don't really want to re-roll that 4. I'm just going to take that, I'm going to re-roll that, so I have a higher chance. That's pretty much it. Let's see. If they hesitate, if they hesitate, they will re-roll their tens die. They will re-roll their tens die and take the new result, which is usually not very good. But you can technically score good things with it. Hesitation does make you do things a little bit faster. That's the entire idea of hesitation. It's you stalling there for a moment before snapping back into it. Normally, it's going to punish you. However, in once in a blue moon, you may actually be rewarded for hesitating. Especially if you're well skilled. Because there's usually a reason you're hesitating. Let's see. So, dual rolls. That's not really a factor. Other rolls, don't really need to worry about that because I already said up here we're going to need a full set of dice, as well as the inevitable feeling of loss. I could probably call it something fancier for Game Master, but I don't feel like it. I can't think of anything there. What, Dead Master? Isn't that what... God, what game does they call it? I remember one calls him like the Dead Master or something. I thought it was always funny. Oh God, you're all this way. Oh no. Oh no. I need to make you this. In case you're wondering why this is now apparently, why this text is white. The grand plan of this is to have... No, I don't really worry about that. The grand plan for this is to actually for it to be turns, if I can get this right. I go to page setup. The goal is for it to do this, to be, black, kind of like a CDDA screen, with the idea of this really cheaply made ASCII artwork. Yeah, I had to find... Yeah, I did this. Sucks, but it's mine. But that's kind of the idea. However, as anyone with a brain can probably see, this isn't the best to work with, so I'm not going to work with that right now. But that's the final plan. It's going to look a little bit nicer by virtue of just, making it the new black. So, let's see. Momentum and hesitation. Let me just double check everything. Okay. And this game is actually, this particular one, Pigs, is based off the... This game is actually based off the Bedrock system, or Bare Bones Fantasy by Bedrock Games. And because I actually quite enjoy that system. It was nice and fun. Nice and pretty, nice and simple. I actually looked at it for Art of Wuxia. If you look at the Wuxia RPGs, Dekoye Sheija Wuxia, you actually can see me go over it. So, we want to do Survivor creation. Survivors. During the end of... Actually, no. Opening days of the event. That's what we're just going to call it, because I'm creatively bankrupt. During the opening days of the event, many lost their lives, only to return in unlife, only to return in unlife. Unlife survivors quickly dwindled as safe houses were overrun, and petty squabbles escalated with the end of, every time I go back into a document, I notice like there's one little thing wrong. It drives me up the wall every time. It's great. In the end of, end of Law and Order. In the days of the event, many lost their lives, only to return to unlives. Survivors quickly dwindled as safe. The survivors are one of the few remaining. Disparate wanderers trying to make their life in the world of the dead, damned, and starving. So let's see. The players will be taking the role of these survivors. Somewhat hardened. Let's see. Somewhat hardened to the rigors of the world post event. Yeah, pigs actually. I had a lot of problem with pigs. This entire game hurt making, by the way. Let me just preface that real fast, because I don't usually do D100 systems. So let's see. From all walks of life. Let's see, the survivors are drawn from all walks of life. From the competent to the incompetent. All of which are in this mess. Together. Oh god. Let's see, we want to do that. So we need to do different attributes. I know that much. So let's see. Survivors roll 4d10 plus 30. Actually, no, 4d10 plus 30 would be average about 50 to 34 to 50. We want to make this 3d10 plus 30, because if we do 3d10 plus 30... I'm trying to think. Because if 3d10 plus 30, it would be, you have an average of 30 to 30 plus 30, so you'd have 32, or you would have 33 to 63. No, 60. Which is pretty average. And what would your average be? Your average would be 3d10 would be 5.5, 11, 16.5. Your average would be about 46. Yeah. So I'm trying to look at what the numbers in my head are. Because the idea behind this, like, the idea behind pigs is that you are a competent person. You are a trained individual who is really damn good at what they do already. You're cut above. This one is, You are a random fucking Joe. You are a regular person in this situation. So I'm like, what's the... See, thanks, OBS. Poggers. I love you, OBS. What's this game jam? The game jam is for C&D jam as well as the Apocalypse jam. Those are the two jams I'm taking part in with this one. But yeah, kind of answer your question there, Clark. It's a lot about trying to make this particular thing work. Because like the thing that I enjoy most about those games is that you can have characters that are awful, awful, awful characters. Let me see, C&D Jam. And those awful characters usually are the ones that create some of the most interesting stories. Because you're allowed to do some weirder things. Yeah, this is the C&D Jam. I should hit this button. Yeah, the C&D Jam has some interesting ones. Most of them are Lumen games. And I went over Lumen already on this channel. It's pain. Let me see. The other one is this one, Apocalypse TTRPG Jam. Ta-da. It's sure a good way to know what TTRPG game jams are going on. A good point. No. Yeah, Jaeger. To say, no. There is quite literally not a single good option for that. Which is actually a major issue, because itch.io does not support that. Like, itch.io treats physical games like this weird afterthought that they don't... You're a disappointment if you're in this section. Because there's actually no way to filter any, like, genre or anything with this one. So you get everything. Even things that, like, this isn't really a game. Like, come on. Come on. But, like, if I go to, like, games here, like, I can sort this out pretty quickly of, like, what I'm actually looking for. It's a lot harder for physical stuff. Pigs. Pigs I went with, what did I end up going with? I went with 40-10 plus 30. That was my personal one. Because I wanted people to be, like, feel good. But I also have some of the less random versions down here. I wanted you to feel confident, but, like, still a little bit of growth. That was the main goal there. Let me see. Survivor, so about 3d10 plus 30. That should produce for roughly a standard human being TM. Standard person TM. Let's see. Survivors roll 3d10 for each of their core. Each of their core attributes. Also, if you ever want to know why I, like, sometimes don't type the F, my F key doesn't work half the time. I don't know why. It just doesn't. Survivors roll 3d10 plus 3 for each of their core attribute. Average being, so the average would be average around 46. I think 46 would be the accurate one. Technically it'd be 46.5, but it's a 5d10 plus 10. That's called the gamer moment. You know what? Fuck it. Let's do that. You know, I think that'll be funnier. We'll do 5d10 plus 15. Because 5d10, if we do that, if we do any dice, I'm pretty sure 5d10. Also, everyone used any dice. Just use it. It's very valuable. You'd average would be about 27 to 28, so yours would be about 37. No, it would be about... Hello. Hello, Mr. Bug. Little fucking fruit fly flying around. Got through my window, I think. Survivors roll that, so this would be... Actually, average would be around 40 then. And I am okay with that, because you have some extreme heroes, and you can also get some fucking worthless people. But that's funny. I enjoy that. So, what each of their core... to determine their value. To determine their value, the core at... Because if we go to... And then we go to CDDA stats. Come on, give me what I'm looking for. Any system use 5d20 instead of d100. No, I don't believe so. I've seen a 2d20 game. Motifist pumps those out like they're going out of style. But, like, the d20 is a weird dice. D20 is a weird die because it's really big and it makes things swingy. God, though, that does remind me, what game was it? I went over it on the channel already. There is a game that uses, it's a dice pool system, but it uses d20s for the dice pool. It is completely bizarre. I love it to death. Strength, dex, intelligence, perception. Okay. So I think we will... We will keep body, I think. Body is the right option. So, body. Coordination, we can probably sub out for perception. Or do we just keep everything? Cutie, the heat of battle. Guts, determination, willingness. Because guts are also... your ability to convince other, and guts would be like, this is actually... Roll 100, have a heart attack. See, pretty much just like, you just grab these bunch of d20s being like, do you want me to roll? I mean, everyone looks at each other like, oh god, he's going to roll. We're snoring. Dice go everywhere, it's awful. Hey, don't talk to me about being a dice goblin. Don't I have my bag full of misery over there. Yeah, but like, D20's an odd system. Then you can just play Saga. You can technically just play Saga, which does use every dice at the same time, but only one of them. Actually, I think I can actually keep this. Because if I keep this, I won't have to worry about things going on. Inside. Actually, we'll do inside. Body coordination, insight, guts. Because guts being the idea of just how daring or how impressive you are, being immune to panic and things like that. Body is how physically fit you are. Coordination is pretty much physical dexterity. Insight is educational analysis. I feel like there needs to be another one. What is the other one? I can see it. I know it. It's, there's a term I'm looking for. The idea of, like, practicals. Empirical? Okay, you know, we'll put in, let's see. Pragmatic. With the idea being, here's the concept. Yes, I do use Google Docs for everything until I find a service that allows me to share my games, allowing other people to kind of comment on them and stuff. I have to kind of use Docs. Now, the idea behind pragmatism is for those who've ever played Left 4 Dead 2, Ellis. Ellis is not smart. He's not an intelligent person. He is, however, incredibly pragmatic. Someone with high insight can tell you all about the biology and kind of understanding. Someone with high pragmatism is going to be able to turn that into actual something valuable. So it's kind of, you could say, insight is thought, pragmatic would be applied thought. If that makes any remote fucking sense like it does in my head. I can see it's in my noggin. It makes sense there. Because, what I would need is, you have your body is pretty obvious what that's going to be doing. Your coordination, which is pretty obvious. Practicality. It's something like that. That's why I'm pragmatic? Would that be the correct word for it? Pragmatism? I guess pragmatism would be the correct term. Coordination is kind of more range attacks, being able to dexterity. Insight would be this raw, this is educational value. While pragmatism is, kind of more practical skills. That, and I can then tie in pragmatism to things like mechanics. You may be incredibly smart, but you may not be able to actually fix a car. That's kind of the idea. More applied education, if that even makes sense. I can see it in my head what I want it to do. Education versus common sense. To a degree, I think that's kind of the idea. I also kind of want it to be kind of like the Survivor Man stat, in a way. This is welcome to Game Design 101, otherwise known as learning words. Being what words work best here? I think I'm going to keep pragmatism for now. Yeah, we'll do cunning. Yeah, body coordination, insight, and actually put you there, actually. Insight, guts. Insight, and guts. For now, if I come... Because, mind you, what's going to happen is, after this stream, I'm going to head off, I'm going to, watch a video, and it's going to say the exact word I'm looking for, and I'm going to lose my shit, because that's what always happens. Every single goddamn time. So, let's see. Just make sure, because I'm lucky enough that I can just do this. Let's see. Survivors roll a coordination app. Also, it may seem like I'm just copy pasting things. Yeah, pretty much. This, I don't do D100 systems. That's just not my thing. I like D100 systems. I just don't make that many. So let's see. Survivor. Just constructing the course. As well as personal performance in certain areas. Let's see. Survivors. Let's see. Bodies. Let's see. We know his body is important for. Let's see. Body is important for the survivor's physical, carrying capacity and natural resilience to wounds as well as infection. Because yes, we're going to have to worry about things like infections. Let's see. Coordination is required. Is required for delicate movement and quick and speedy retreats. There we go. And speedy retreats. Manipulations. Let's see. Physical dexterity. Natural speed. And hand-eye coordination. And hand-eye coordination. Wow, coordination is useful for hand-eye coordination. You would have never guessed. I know, it's wacky. Let's see. Educational analysis and mental acuity. And mental acuity in a formal setting. Insight is frequently used by to determine aspects of the physical world and understand the nuances behind it. Someone with high insight can tell you which berries are of which brand. A guy with high cunning can tell you that berry is just fucking poisonous and you will die eating it. That's kind of the idea. Let's see. Survivor's determination and willingness. Let's see. The survivor's determination in the face of disaster and terror. That's informally the measure of the survivor's ability to remain calm in disaster and convince others to remain calm. And convince others of their point of view. Which brings me to, we need to put in the cooling. So we need to put that right there. We put cunning right there. Cun, which is 2 letters away from being very bad. Let's see. The survivor's natural instinct and pragmatism. Haha. And pragmatism toward the situation. Toward life. Cunning is used to determine. Actually, let's see. It's improvise, understand, and overcome immediate obstacles. So cunning is kind of like a weird catch-all. Where, yeah, so someone like a card sharp would have high cunning. Like, yeah, you're going to survive this. You may not be the best at that. You may not be a good person. However, you can definitely stay alive. So we want to do that. I want to make this pretty tight in some respects. So we're going to do... See, what I can do is I can do what I did with pigs and just edit the look a little bit to make it look a little nicer. Oh, didn't mean, no, go. YouTube is not receiving enough stream video. Like, what do you mean it's a fucking, what do you want me to do? Let's see, let's see. I'm gonna put the alternate attributes here, just for alternate attribute distribution. Doesn't mean I have to select all of you. It's not Brawler. We're losing Lotto. Lotto's a great font, by the way. Nice, simple, easy. No one complains. No one cares. It's great. You do that, we can slap an image right there. And then we have our core attributes. This is, let's see, then we want to, this would be heading 2. Core attributes with their core attributes. Alright. Core statistics. Derived statistics. These aren't derived statistics. So, let's see. This would be derived attributes. Now, this is going to be the first step of where things get a little bit weird. So, each survivor has a set of derived attributes which are tied to the core attributes of the character of the survivor. These derived attributes can shift and change just as much as the core attributes in play. So when the tens value is called, you only take the tens value of the core attribute. There we go. We're just going to put that in here. So, because one thing is we have to remember, we are not actually going to be using a traditional health system. Not just going to be like wounds or something. No, our health system is going to be based off of this. So if I take an injury here, my lower arm is getting injured. So let's say like after a particularly nasty fight, our body may look like this, for example. So we may look like that. Like our gut may be severely injured, but our chest is fine, but we just got scratched below, and oh no, I got hit in the head. Technically, what I should add is another small one, like right here. There we go. Our Vitruvian man. Our Notepad man. It's great. So, let's see. Wounds aren't... We don't need wounds. Willpower. Willpower can be reduced by... the amount of willpower the pilot has... Actually, what would be the best option here? This would be... No, we want to reflect all of this by D100s. So we're not going to worry about that. We'll worry about that later. But the core idea of what we want to do here is going to be the melee attack bonus. Actually, melee weapon bonus. Actually, no, carrying capacity. First things first. Let's think smart, think low, think carrying capacity. What's that? It's going to be bod 10s plus gut 10s. The amount The amount of, actually, no, it would be that times 10. This would be just, so if your body is 3, your guts is 3, 6 times 10. We can do, let's do this. So we technically need to do this. So this would be the amount, the weight in pounds. Let's see, the weight in pounds. The survivor can carry without encumbrance. So let's see, if we have a 3 times 6, it would be 36. So 36 pounds worth of just stuff on your person. That's relatively decent. Because if we do the idea that this is just 36 pounds of you just walking around with stuff on, that's not too bad. Hey, it's individual sections, like, yeah. Yeah, that could work. So maybe... See, this is why I like streaming, because I like getting ideas from people. So we can do times 2 plus guts 10s in pound. So this would be guts 10, so this would be not... How do I want to do this? 2 plus guts 10 times 6, and then we just do... I believe this is the correct way to write this. Because, actually, no. This closes... So this closes off with this. This closes off this. So that actually means I need a third parenthesis here. Because this would close off this. This would close off this. So I don't need this. Yeah. Algebra. So let's see. So if you have a bod of, it would be 6. Let's say 6. Actually, I can bring that down a little bit. So 6 plus 4. Okay. You may not be the physically strongest. Let's see. 50%. With 50%. Let's see. 50%. Oh. 50. Abbreviate the tens digit as bonus. True. Not the bad on it. Let's see, 50% over carry capacity. 50% over carry capacity is considered encumbered. Encumbered. We'll just say negative 10% to all checks. Bodbeak, yeah. I already wrote one game that already is like that. I don't need a second one. Negative 100%. So, and then 100. Then 100% over. Carry capacity is considered. Oh God, why? Why are you the way that you are? 100% over carry capacity is considered extreme encumbrance. It's considered extreme encumbrance. So this would be negative 30% to all checks. which if you have a 36 on it, let's say for example you have 36 on an attribute, you'd have to roll a under 6% chance to complete anything as long as you have all this shit on you. Is this going to be a little bit about just tossing it off to the side? To a degree. And it's also the... what's a better system for making superpowers, GURPS or Hero? GURPS, you're going to get the pure amount of options and breadth of information that GURPS has. Hero is you're going to get all the options to make individualized superpowers. That's kind of the trade-off. But the problem is, Hero is... How do I want to word this? Yeah, exactly. So you aren't going to be completely killed, but you aren't going to be having a fun time. So actually, who's a better system for that? It would be... Hero is a little bit denser. That's the idea. Yeah, Hero is incredibly dense, and you're going to get all the options you want. GURPS is going to make your life easier, though. That's the idea. It's not better, it's easier, though. So just bear that in mind. Yeah, so we've got our carry capacity, and then we're going to determine our weight, which is going to be our bond 10s times 3. Actually, this would be... Actually, no. I don't know how I want to do weight. Actually, no. Weight is going to be, we'll say the average weight. What's the average weight of a human, of a person? Just an average weight. 136 pounds is average. So if we do, let's just say 100 pounds. Let's just say 100 plus bod 10s times 3 times 10. We'll do that because if your bod is 20, that means you're going to be about 120 pounds. If your bod is 4, that means you're going to be about 140 pounds. Or we just roll for weight. Oh, God. See, this is where things get a little bit complicated. To a degree, yeah. Hero is for a very certain kind of person, and the people who really like Hero are the people who really enjoy Hero. And they're the ones who are going to go real hardcore, and they're going to adore every bit of it. Let's see, hidden stats. Is this what I'm looking for? How do I want to work this? God, I can see what I want to do here. It's just thinking about it too much. So the amount of shit you can carry... Actually... Yeah, that's what I'm like, that math isn't going to work out anyway. I look at it like, I know what I was looking for. It's just about doing it. Let's see. Nimble sneaking. Because this is the easy part, where it's finding all of the... Where the fuck is it? Where the fuck is it? Combat, agility. I just want passive skills. Give me those passives. Carry weight as well as other factors. Carry capacities 6, 7, 8. We can make things a lot easier. Okay, let's... Okay, let's take a step back. What are we actually looking to replicate here? What are we actually looking to do? What do I have? Physical conditions, hunger and thirst, illness, depression. So what we need to do things is, do we really need this? Ask yourself this right now. No. How we're going to do instead is this. Make our life a little bit easier. Dash the character, the survivors, natural carrying, carrying capacity. 50% of our carry capacity is considered encumbered. 100% is extreme encumbrance. 100. And 50 and 150% over. Percent over is considered renders the survivor unable to move. Let's see. Let's consider. Hey, what can I say? I'm American, though. Trust me, like, any average weight is automatically fucked anytime you factor in America. like, god damn it. So what we need to do here... What would be some other, actually... What would it be? What's the correct term here? Actually, carry capacity. I'll think on this. I can see what I want. I know what I want. I just need to debate on I just need to debate myself on that. Isn't that the worst part? Is when you can like clearly understand what you're looking for. You know what you want, but it's like, okay, what do I actually what do you actually want? So actually, we don't need to worry about skills right now. What we do need to worry about is, we're going to call them the values. Values, a survivor. A survivor is composed of multiple values, which determine a plethora of effects and problems that they must balance to go about their daily life. These values are rarely easy to simply ignore. And can easily lead to death if forgotten about. Because this is going to be things like, we go here, not 1, we need to do heading 2. Guard Bros Veil Rider. Veil Rider. Never heard of it. I can accurately say I have not heard of that. If you got a link to it, feel free to post it in there. I'll take a look at it. Let's see. Actually, we need to do the Actually, no. We'll do things like mood. You know, mood. So what's going to be like mood, illness, Geo Scavenger is a great fucking game, and you should totally play it. It's a very special kind of nightmare, but it's the kind of game that you can't really get elsewhere. Let's just say that. Music stop. Throw on something else. Statesos. Statestobars. Okay, actually, so mood, illness, hunger, thirst, temperature, okay, so these will be our main bars. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have a separate one, which is going to be, actually, no, blood loss. And then we can have a separate section just for wounds. So mood, actually, usually forgotten about when a value reaches 80%. When a value reaches 80%, actually, yeah, when the value reaches 80%, the survivor is actually clearly not suffering, but is in need of something to boost it, something to increase it. At 50%, the effects are growing severe. With the complication, we start. Actually, no, we want to do that. 60%. The effects are growing with the complication starting. Each percentage after the complication starting. Finally at 20%. The effects are dire. The survivor. The survivor taking the extreme complication as well. Actually, we'll call it the terminal complication as well. So, what does this actually mean? What we're going to do is I'm just going to do the mood one right now because it's a little bit late. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I should actually like go to bed. Yeah, that's kind of the idea that I was going for. That's why I kind of changed it. Abstracted a little bit. It's odd to work with. And like that's kind of how CDDA does it. And so there always comes a point where it's like Project Zomboid also has some ridiculous, silly things in it as well. Being like, here, let me pick up this entire, let me just store this entire ham radio in my back pocket. Like, have no fear, they're mega sized. Oh, hello there, Ajax. Let's see. So mood. The survivor. So actually, let's do that. The survivors. Uh, current mood and outlook on life. An outlook on life. Actually, this is reduced gradually to a resting 80%. This is reduced gradually to 80%, but problems such as the problems will reduce it, such as injury, death of friends, witnessing horrible events, and general negativity. And so the initial complication is a negative 1% to all actions. Negative 1% to all actions per it'd be, or 2% under 80. So this idea would be, for example, I have 64, let's say I have 64%. So under 80, I am, actually, we'll just do 60%. So it's 60%. I'm, actually, no, it would be, but we have to do suffer from 60. Let's say we're at, well, we'll say we're at 40. Let's say, no, we'll say we're at 50%. Technically, I would have a negative 5% to all of my checks. That's it. And the idea being is that you're just depressed. Like 80 is like resting, like we could do this. Like things are pretty okay. It falling is like things are not okay, or things are really bad, or I'm in dire straits currently. You know, at below 60 is like when you're kind of feeling that your mood has definitely taken a downturn. The idea of, oh god, everything is hopeless, we're all going to die, that little niggling thought in the back of your head starts coming up. So, we need to do the terminal complication. This is going to be a negative 5% to all actions under 2% under 20. This is called severe depression at this point. Life is hopeless, you're all going to die. So if you're at 10% mood, you're currently suffering from I believe that it would be a negative 25% to all of your actions on top of the initial complication. So this would be, at that rate, that would be 50 under. That would be, no, you'd be suffering a negative 50% to all your actions at 10%. Literally, you will fail everything. Unless you are very skilled, because you have just hit the point of no... Actually, no, that's not very good. Terminal, what have you... per 1% under. We do that for that complication, for the terminal complication. The idea would be this is very bad. You start feeling you're kind of a mixture of very sad. You're also very depressed. Things are generally going poorly. You're just going to take a negative 20. The survivor takes. Actually, the survivor can no longer score critical successes. Can no longer score criticals. And when they do, reduce mood. And when they do, reduce mood by 5%. Actually, by 3%. You can't even feel happy anymore because you are terminal and you're just going to keep falling. Yeah. Because, like, with this complication, technically you can have at 20%, you're already suffering a negative 40% almost. With that be actually no, it'd be 1% under. It would be about a 40%. Like, you're not having a good time already. Like, this is very bad. Actually, no, we can do that. So this would be already about 20%, and it's only going to get worse. So you're always going to be scoring. Anytime you score any critical, you're going to just fall. Actually, we'll call it the final one at 0. Zeroed. Actually, no. Final complication. The survivor has fallen into complete despair. You ever kill a zombie so hard it makes you sad? The thing is, you can't score criticals anymore. That's the idea. If you were to roll dubs, you just take the mood penalty. Let's see. Survivors fall into complete despair. They can no longer perform actions until it raises about 20%. There we go. So the idea being, oh no, this is kind of getting bad, but you have a little bit of leeway. Terminal complication is like, well, shit, things are going really wrong. Final complication is at 0, where it's like, you are very, no. Finally, when a value is reduced to 0%, they suffer the final complication. Usually a disastrous crescendo to their existence. So what we can do now, majority of the time, here's the big thing. A majority of the time, the final complication isn't going to be actually too fascinating. It's just going to be death. You just die. Because that's what happens when you die, everybody. Let's see. The survivor has been struck with an illness or infection, slowly creeping through their body to slow their movements and hinder their thinking. Complication. Actually, good rest. So, good rest and food are required to fight off the illness. To fight off the illness. But good, yeah, fight off the illness. So yeah, remember, getting sick isn't very good. This is not infection like the infection. Actually, that reminds me, I need to put that in right here, which is just going to be not the infection. How do we want to do? How do we want to word that? There we go. Bile blood. Now blood loss is bile blood. Complication, negative 5% to all checks. As the survivor begins to feel the effects of the illness. If the survivor I'll put this as a side note of how illness works. And then we have the terminal complication, which is going to be a negative 25% to all checks. Succumb to the illness. And then finally, the final complication, death. You just succumb to it. Like, you have pneumonia at yeah, pretty much, Clark. That's kind of the idea. Being like, you get a 9% chance of just like losing faith in humanity. In addition, you just can't critical. Actually, I should put that in. Can no longer score critical successes. There you go. This isn't just like critical. Like this you still critically fail. You just no longer critically succeed anymore. Don't become depressed, kids. Take care of yourselves. Death. Let's see. The survivors' innate need for food and innate need for food. Eat to regain. Starve to lose. Let's see. Complication, which is just going to be negative 1% to all checks. And then we have the terminal complication, which is going to be negative 5%, which is going to be actually, I know. Negative 10% to all core attributes. Not penalty, you just negative 10 to all your core attributes. Just because you are starving at this point. You are incredibly hungry. And then the final complication, death. You just succumb to starvation. That's pretty standard. The survivor's innate need for water or liquid. Drink to regain. Would you call it starve for not? It wouldn't be starving. Drink to regain, but ignore to lose it. To gradually lose it. Complications. We want the complication, which is going to be the same thing. With the idea being like, complications are supposed to be these slow gnawing things that just slowly tick down. That you might be suffering from hunger, and you might be suffering from thirst, and you might be having a 7% chance. You might be losing 7% on your core skills. It's fine. I'm not that bad, but I should eat something. Then we have a terminal complication, which is going to be, actually, no, we want to do BOD. Negative 10% to all, to BOD and guts. It'd be BOD, guts, BOD, core, guts. The bot core, gut and gut. Terminal complication, which is going to be a negative 15% to, actually no, negative 10% to cunning and no, cunning and insight. Kind of the idea being like thirst is like your brain's beginning to kind of, your thirst is for your brain, food is for your body. Like both are very valuable, but I need to kind of separate them up a little bit. Final complication. Guess what? It's going to be death. Temperature. So the survivor. No. Yeah, I stream on YouTube once in a blue moon. It depends on the Weekend Warrior. This one I just felt like doing it because it was a little bit later. This is a game for a game jam, technically 2 game jams. And this is a game called Super Esse Mortus, or which is roughly translate to Survive the Dead. It's a story of how you died, and it's I can't believe it's not Zomboid / CDDA. And this is also the game where I'm going to be, and I do quote this in the nicest way possible, completely autistic when it comes to the health system. Hence why I'm going to be replicating every single part of this. So the goal right now is to kind of get the core system up and running. Will it work? I don't know yet. I don't do D100 games. I feel relatively confident. The survivor is in extreme temperature. The survivor is in extreme temperature situations, requiring them. You good lord indeed. Find warmth or a cool place. I'm going to keep temperature together instead of just like extreme cold or extreme heat for my own sanity. So our complication, we're just going to have, this is going to be a pretty, actually, what would be a good complication to this? Actually, no, complication. Part 35 for our we are not doing Phoenix Command. I swear to that. Phoenix Command is not what this is. For roughly speaking of how I want to handle some of the weapons. Tell me a raster puzzle. Like, one of the ideas I have, and this is from Zomboid actually. The Zomboid has the system of damage where you can get scratched, scratched and lacerated. Scratched and lacerated are technically the same thing. They're just severity, and this applies to any part of the body. So your neck can get lacerated, your leg can get cut, or things like that. What I want to do is I want to kind of play on that system a little bit and have different tiers of injury. So if you get scratched on your head, it's going to be a little bit different than if you get, your upper arm lacerated. Than if you take a gunshot wound to your leg, or if you take, that's kind of the idea. If your foot gets shot, you're not going to die. You're going to feel in misery, mind you. It's going to suck, but you're not going to die. However, I don't know about you gamers, but taking a 45 to the skull is probably going to mean you're going to die. So it's kind of, I want to do that kind of idea of this very detailed system of just living and dying. Hence why we're going through all of these different ones. And like, I have various tiers of just like, if you keep attacking the gut, it's going to upgrade from things like scratch to cut to lacerated to probably something like exposed or something, like just completely just cut open. Which fun fact, it's death. It's usually just going to be death. Let's see, complication. I'm going to save complication for this one because I have an idea for the combat system a little bit. Let's see, terminal complication. And then the final complication is going to be death. Because like half of me is debating on a fairly standard combat system. The other half of me is like, let's do something stupid. Let's just do something fucking stupid because that's what I do. I'm gonna keep these. Yeah, unfortunately, unintentionally dramatic. You popped in and like, I want to go to sleep because it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I said I was only going to do one more, but I decided to do a few more because I'm me. Let's see, survivors, terminal complication. I will probably fix this up a little bit. I just need to get something on paper right now. That is usually the hardest part with any of these kind of games, is getting it on paper. And I always tell people, being like, don't fuck everything else, get it on paper. Because getting it on paper is what's going to make things a lot easier for you. And just the fact that I have these now, it means a lot. It's only 7 pages, you know, it's only like not many pages of actual rules, but it kind of gives a good idea of like what we're going to be working with here. Alright. Then I can usually work with derived attributes relatively well. Alright. Let's see, what else are we gonna wind down here just for a bit? What else was I... Yeah. So, roughly speaking... Oh, yeah, no, it's... Shine on, Crazy Diamond. Shine on, that's all I can say. Pretty much. See, that's why I like doing these streams, actually. This is one of the reasons I started them, because I can kind of vocalize what I'm thinking sometimes. And I can kind of get ideas. That's a big idea, don't get me wrong. But I can vocalize my ideas, and it also kind of helps me, like, I'm going to put this on paper. And in case I forget something, I can also reference back. Like, that's the reason I upload all the videos of all these streams from even the Twitch channel. That's why you can find all the playlists, but I never send them out as subscriber notifications. I never do for those ones, because those are mostly for me and for those who are interested in it. I don't know why any of you would be interested in me, like, just rambling sometimes to myself. But, yeah. As I wind down here, roughly speaking, the plan so far is we're going to be starting formally back up on the main games on Monday. We're going to be starting with Satan War Snakeskin on Twitch. That's kind of like where I'm thinking lower leg. Like, knees is weird. Knees are weird, one of those weird places, Jaeger, because it's like, it's technically I would kind of call it lower leg, or like half of me wants like it's its own thing, but it's like just for the sake of gameplay, I'm like, yeah, I could trace everything, but then I need to put elbows in, and then I need to do that, so it's like it's lower leg. Don't think about it, it's lower leg. Yeah, no, on Monday we're going to be starting on Satan's War Snakeskin. I have what that game looks like now. It's in my head. It's going to be a beautiful disaster. Mostly because I decided to be a little bit of a little bit cheeky, you could say, just a little cheeky, because I'm me, and I'm in fact a terrible human being. Let me see if I can find it. I need to go to, where's my folder? Left toe nut. This is not this is not Dwarf Fortress, I swear. Not yet. Though, honestly speaking, if this actually does work, even like a third of the way I'm planning on it, yeah, no, totally, I'm gonna do that. Just to be the one guy who attempted it. Now, one of the ideas is I'm gonna be using this game, Blood Feud, an unfortunate, not that great game. I'm going to be using some of the ideas in it because this game is what we like to call based in red pilled. You may be wondering why is it based in red pilled? Well, in this game, you only play men. Now, in those games, it's a game about toxic masculinity. It's about male relationships. It's about having vaguely Viking homoerotic undertones. Somewhere along the way, someone forgot. Someone forgot that you had there like women exist. Thus, women are effectively items. Yeah, women are items. They aren't really characters. I don't know why they thought this. I don't know why they decided to make women items. I genuinely don't know. Maybe it was just be like the cool poggers way of looking at things. But yeah, that's we're gonna be playing with that a little bit because I can. And yeah, the entire idea behind Satan Wore Snakeskin is that you are part of a you're going to be part of a TV drama with all the associated bullshit that goes in front of the camera as well as off the camera. Because I find that funny, because it's going to be ranging from The Sopranos to Pirates, the largest grossing and highest budget porn film ever. So hopefully that'll be fun. I have a few ideas for that game. I also got the cases have been set up. I will be kind of determining the final amount of the cases will be ready probably by the end of the day. Today, technically Sunday. So far, there is two clear heads. We have the curious case of God, I hope it's parody games. The game was written by aliens that assumed to finish a wife-carrying race was the default human relationship. To shove the women into your hand, just put it into your back pocket. Have no fear, ladies, it's me. But yeah, we have the curious case of God, I hope it's parody games with such artistic merits, such as Bella Maga and Human Occupied Landfill. And as of right now, it's a very close game. It's a pretty close back and forth with the curious case of Japanese RPGs 3 and the current winner, which is the curious case of franchise games 3, the Funky Fresh 80s. Yeah, those are separated by a vote currently. Turns out the Full Metal case of Oorah isn't doing too hot, but it do be that way. But yeah, no, those are the current cases lined up. The people on my server did kind of decide they want to do it like you just vote for everything at once. See how that goes. That's just kind of how things operate. So, roughly speaking, we're going to call it there for today. So, thank you all. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your night or day or whatever time it is for you all. And I will catch you all on the flip side. And don't forget to post your game in the TG thread. It's still up, I hope. I need my own personal bump fag at this point. Alright. I am away. Yeah, yeet. Yeah. The Street Fighter RPG is gonna... I will go over that game once someone figures out whether or not they want me to go over the World of Darkness games. I have an idea. I need to go over Storyteller games. It's a fucking mess. But I will go over Street Fighter if that goes well. Alright. I am away.